Hey guys, and welcome to this third episode of D3Live. Today we're going to tackle a pretty big topic. It's going to be the iPhone 4 versus Android. Now before we begin, let me just clear up a few questions I get. Android is not a phone, guys. I know that there is the Droid, but that's a different thing from Android. Android is a full software platform that runs on a ton of phones, guys. I mean, literally, there are probably, a couple Android phones come out every week, okay? Android basically is made by Google. It's an operating system for phones, sometimes for like tablets, even for like small computers, very rarely. But and basically, lots of phones are built off of it, and it's a really solid platform. And there have been some really, really good phones that have been built off Android. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and compare just a few phones today to help you kind of understand what all this means. So obviously, I'm going to take a look at the iPhone 4. Okay, iPhone 4 is really looking solid, guys. I mean, it's the thinnest smartphone on the planet right now, which it sounds like something Steve Jobs would say, but it's a really cool thing. It's very, very cool as far as the screen. The screen is really high resolution. I call it the Retina display because the screen's so high resolution your eyes can't even, if it was any better, your eyes couldn't see. I don't 100% agree with that, guys. It depends on how far you hold it, but at any rate, guys, the iPhone 4 has probably the best screen you can get on a phone right now. Obviously, it has the iPhone OS, or it's now called iOS. It now has multitasking. It has the App Store with, like over 230,000 apps. Guys, the iPhone 4 is going to be a huge phone, and they're going to sell millions of them, and probably every single one of those people are going to be happy with it. But that's not to say that it is the only phone that you might want to get. There are also several Android phones. So there are three of them I'm going to talk about today, but of course, guys, there are many, many more, and I mean, most of these phones are really good. I'm going to go ahead and focus on three today. The first one is going to be the Motorola Droid 2. Of course, guys, arguably the phone that really kicked off Android was the original Droid, which came out late last year. Guys, it is a really solid phone. It's got the slide-out keyboard, but it's got a really nice screen. It's fast, and it's a really solid phone. But there are a lot better phones nowadays, and so of course it's about time for the Motorola Droid 2. So guys, they might actually name it the Droid 2. They might name it a couple other names. There's a bunch of different people talking about it. But at any rate, it will be the successor to the Droid, and it will look very similar. It will have maybe just like a little bit of chrome around it. It will probably have a little bit of a faster processor, but it will be mostly the same. Guys, it will run Android, which means you can run I believe, over 50,000 apps on Android. So, I mean, it might not be 230,000, but guys, you're not going to download, 10,000, 20,000 apps, so it's not that huge of a deal. You should be able to find pretty much anything you need. So guys, the Droid 2 is probably going to be the best phone if you really want a hardware keyboard. A lot of smartphones these days are going to the software keyboard where just use the touchscreen. But the Droid has always had a pretty decent, maybe not an amazing, but a pretty decent keyboard, and the Droid 2 looks to improve on this. So guys, if the keyboard, maybe you're coming from a BlackBerry or a Windows mobile phone, which obviously has a standard keyboard, you might want to go ahead and take a look at the Droid 2, which should be out within the next month or so, month and a half maybe. Guys, now the next two phones are already out. The next one is going to be on Verizon, and it will be the Droid Incredible. Guys, this is a pretty solid phone. It's got a 3.7-inch display, which is very, very slightly larger than the iPhone display. It's got a very high resolution, but the cool thing about it is it has a Snapdragon processor. Now, guys, you know what that means? Basically, it's going to be very, very fast. You'll be able to, browse websites fast, open apps fast, play even some pretty decent games. It's just going to be a very fast phone. It also has the HTC Sense interface on top of Android. What this means is that you'll have a little bit more functionality. You'll have like a cool clock. You'll be able to, have more home screens. Some various little features that will be pretty helpful. Guys, the HTC Droid Incredible, if you're buying a phone on Verizon right now, guys, that would probably be the one to go for. The Droid 2 will be coming soon, but it will probably not be, better than the HTC Droid Incredible just because they're two different phones. One has a keyboard and one doesn't. So guys, if you're interested in a phone on Verizon right now, the HTC Droid Incredible is probably the one to get. Now guys, for probably the best Android phone right now, which is the HTC EVO 4G. Guys, this is a monster of a phone. It has had a 4.3 actually, I'm not 100% sure, but it's over a 4-inch display, which is much, much larger than anything else really on the market right now. It runs Android with the HTC Sense interface, just like on the Incredible. But guys, it's got a lot of really cool features. It's got a Snapdragon processor, so it's going to be very fast. It's got a full 8 megapixel camera on the back that shoots high definition video, guys. That's pretty impressive. You actually take your phone, shoot high definition video, so you can quit carrying like a flip minnow or whatever camcorder you might carry on a day-to-day basis. Some more things are it has HDMI out, so you can actually just plug right into the bottom of the phone and output to your high definition TV, so you can watch all the videos you have. In addition, it has a front-facing camera. Guys, this is going to be really cool because you can actually hold the phone there and actually stare at the screen or stare at the little camera right above the screen. You can actually talk to people. It will work on 3G as well. But guys, the main thing that makes this phone go from really, really good to just fantastic is that it has 4G. So Sprint has built out a network in the United States called 4G, which is basically going to be the next kind of wireless network that everyone we're going to start using. Basically, with this, you can go ahead and get much, much faster downloads, and the internet's going to be super fast. They've said upwards of 10 megabits per second, which, guys, is faster than, probably 80 to 90% of people's internet connections at their house. So, guys, you can be out in the middle of nowhere and get internet that's much faster than at your house. And, of course, 4G isn't everywhere yet, but it's great that you can go ahead and get on that. Plus, it will work on pretty much anywhere as is. 4G, it will just bump up to that when you're around it. So, guys, the HTC EVO 4G looks great. Now, guys, to the little bit bigger question, which is, well, which should I get? Well, guys, I'm going to say this once, I'm going to say it anytime anybody asks me. The iPhone 4 looks great, and if you buy it, you will not be disappointed. It looks great. It's got a great design, in my opinion. There's a lot to like about the iPhone. But, there's some things that there's not to like. The App Store is a little bit closed. You can't, it's a real big trouble to go ahead and jailbreak or modify it, to do what you want to do on it. So it's a really closed platform. So that's why I like to come to Android for a lot of people. It's open, so it's not difficult to, you can pretty much put any app on there you want. Nobody's really going to say, no, you can't use that or whatever. And it's really nice and open. And plus, there's a ton of different phones. You can get phones with keyboards, phones without keyboards. You can get phones with, front-facing cameras, this, that. There's a new, awesome Android phone that seems to come out, every couple weeks. So guys, it's really down to you, but guys, when I tell you this, believe me, you can't go wrong with either of them. Android is a really solid thing, and the iPhone's really solid as well. Okay guys, so for the second segment of D3 Live, I will be taking live Skype calls. All of this is done in front of Blog TV, got a bunch of people in here, so go ahead and take a few live Skype calls. Let's go ahead and take the first one. Hello Jonathan, are you there?
Yeah, I remember my question. Can you hack a DSi?
I know, I'm not actually a big expert in this. I know that they are working on it, but the main problem with that is that the DSi can actually update, and so just like jailbreaking your iPod or iPhone, you can go ahead and they can update it and keep you from doing anything that they're really not wanting to. So I guess you can. I'm not a really big expert on it, but it's a little bit more difficult. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, man. All right, let's go ahead and get another call here. Danny, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's your question?
Alright, what's the number one thing you like about Windows, and the number one thing you dislike about Apple?
You might want to turn your volume down. You're asking what's my main thing I like about Windows that I don't like about Mac?
Yeah.
Well, the main thing I like about Windows is that it's something, this is just something I've used for a long time. There are a lot of different things, such as, more applications support Windows, even though I'm not saying it's not like against Mac, that, Mac doesn't have a lot. But there are a lot of applications that have been made from Windows, since like the 98 days, 2000, a lot of stuff that will still work on Windows right today. A lot of my games. So, there's nothing really that bad about Mac in my opinion. I like it. I've had a Mac before, but I've just used Windows for so long, and that, I know it so well. That's just kind of the way I like to do it. It's just more of a personal preference thing,
Yeah.
Okay, hey, thanks for the question. Okay, let's go ahead and take another call here. Hello, are you there? I'm sorry, your mic's a little bit bad. Right? Oops, Makes a little bit too bad. Sorry. Okay, let's go to another one. Oh, Kyle, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's your question?
Alright, so my question is, it's about the HTC EVO 4G. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So, my question is, aside the 720p video recording, what's the difference between that feature? I mean, what features does the HTC EVO 4G have that other Android-based phones like the Droid or the Droid Aris and all the other ones don't have?
Okay, well, there are several things. Probably the biggest one, in my opinion, is it's got 4G. So, I just, of course, just talked about this a little bit, but basically, the difference is, I mean, between 3G and 4G, it's almost like going from, like dial-up to, like broadband. It's much faster. 4G is not out everywhere yet, but they're starting to roll out, and it's going to be much faster. Like I said, internet browsing is going to be almost as fast, if not even just as fast, as on your normal computer at home. There are a couple other things. It's got a very, very nice large screen, much larger than most screens around. It's got a front-facing camera. Of course, it does run Android. It's got, a Snapdragon processor, which more Android phones are getting, but you guys, you put all that together, it really does make a pretty solid package. So, I hope that answers your question.
Alright, yeah, it did.
Okay, thank you for calling.
No problem.
Alright, let's go ahead and take another call here. Hi, are you there?
Yeah. My question is, iPhone 4.0 or Android 2.2?
Well, as far as operating systems go, I think Android's really, really good, but I just kind of like the iPhone a little bit more just because it's really smooth, it's really polished. I mean, everything is, it's version 4, so, I mean, they've obviously done a lot. I mean, it's a very smooth and polished, and I'll keep saying that, but that's really something that comes to mind. I'm sorry?
My mom has an Android, and I don't really like it because the springboard is kind of laggy. I have an iPod Touch, and comparing those two, I see that the operating system for the iPhones are a lot better. And my next question is, Verizon or AT&T?
Verizon. I have Verizon. I do not like AT&T. Their service is not very good. Most places where Verizon is really good. And I just don't like a lot of the policies AT&T does. I mean, that's not to say that I really don't like them, but I definitely prefer Verizon in my opinion. So.
Okay, thanks for answering my questions, man.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and just take one more call here. So guys, if you want to call in. Hello, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's your question, man?
I was just wondering, with all the new iPhone 4 background changing and multitasking, when do you think they will just stop Cydia because of all the features coming to the iPhone?
Well, I don't think that'll ever happen. I mean, a lot of the stuff that people jailbreak for has been added in iOS 4. I mean, like you just said, you got background changing, you got backgrounding of applications, so you can run more than one at a time. But I don't see Apple ever being able to be totally open. I still see that there'll always be things for such as like 3G unrestricted, so you can run like 3G applications that normally Wi-Fi. Winterboard for really in-depth customization. I think there are always going to be a lot of reasons to go ahead and jailbreak to get more, just to get more openness to be able to do more of what you want. But I do agree that with iOS 4 they have taken a couple of the big things that people jailbreak away for. But hopefully, yeah, jailbreaking will stay. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the call. Okay, guys, so that's going to be it for this third episode of D3 Live. I think I'd like to thank you guys for watching. And if you're interested in more, definitely feel free. I've already done a couple episodes, and I do these every Saturday afternoon. I do it live on Blog TV. So, guys, go ahead and maybe next time if you're interested, come on by. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.